I needed a coat. Now back at Route 1 Sand Lake, you got a coat only if you needed a coat. Now if I want a coat, I'll go down to the store and I will purchase a coat. But Mama and Daddy only got me one if I outgrew the one I currently had, and fortunately, as I was going into high school, I had outgrown the coat I had worn since 5th grade. We were going to get a special coat. And because of that, we were going to go to Knoxville. We weren't going to go to Donnie Bailey's department store on the corner in Newtown, which is what we called New Tazewell, that Mama got polyester to make my Easter dresses, and the dotted Swiss that we made our matching summer dresses out of. And we weren't going to go to Old Town, which is just on the other side of the street sign that said Newtown, where Daddy got his overalls and his work boots. We were going to go to Knoxville. We were not only going to go to Knoxville, we were going to go to Sears, Roebuck and Company on Central Avenue in Knoxville, in downtown Knoxville, and it was special because my daddy despised driving in Knoxville. It was 40 miles from our house to downtown Knoxville. We stopped at the little general store. Daddy filled the car up full of gas, got us a Baby Ruth candy bar. We split that thing in 3 pieces and we headed off towards Sears. We always, the few times that we went to Sears while I was growing up, I can count them on one hand. In fact, I can count them on half of one hand. In fact, I can count them this many times that we went to Sears in Knoxville. We parked in the parking lot that was closest to where the candy counter was. And we went in those double glass doors and went to that big candy counter first. The great big glass counter that had the Spanish peanuts, the mixed nuts, the bridge mix, whatever that stuff was. It had pretzels, it had chocolate, it had every manner of candy you could think of, and it smelled wonderful. And we would circle that thing like the cowboys and the Indians did in the old Saturday morning movies to decide what we were going to buy and carry home with us. Mama and I loved chocolate-covered peanuts. Daddy liked the chocolate stars. And then he headed off to that mysterious part of the store that all the men disappeared to. And Mother and I took the escalator upstairs to the ladies' department. Well, we were going through the coats. She was handing them to me one at a time. Do you like this one? No, I don't. Do you like this one? No, I don't. Do you like this one? No, I don't. I don't like that one. I don't like that one, or even that one. I was 13. What can you say? It had to be perfect. I had forgotten that this particular shopping trip was about 3 days into one of Mother's periods of trying to stop smoking. My mother had smoked since she was a teenager. It was an ugly habit. She hated it, but she was addicted to that nicotine and tried several times while I was growing up to quit the habit. Daddy and I always knew when she was trying to stop, and we had learned to lay low, but I had forgotten the signs of impending nicotine fits. As Mother was handing me those coats one at a time, and I was saying, I don't like it, I don't like it, I don't like it, I don't like it, I didn't notice, but the little vein in her forehead was starting to stand out. Her face was getting red, and I was just about to say, well, there's nothing in this store to wear, when something grabbed my arm. And when I turned and looked at my mother, the smoke was coming out of her ears, and she looked at me and said, "We're going home." We went down the escalator. Mother had me in tow. Patrons of that store, customers and clerks, partied like the Red Sea before Moses and the children of Israel. Mother found Daddy. We sailed by the candy counter. No chocolate stars went home with us that day. We finally did find me a coat. It was the most wonderful coat I've ever had. It was burnt orange naugahyde with gold faux fur around the hem, around the sleeves, around the hood, up and down the front, and it closed with big brass buckles. I loved it. When Mother handed me that coat, she said the same thing that I'm sure every mother had said since Eve. I hope one day you have one just like you. I wore that coat all the way through high school. I wore that coat to nursing school, where I met the love of my life. We got married. The first Christmas together, he bought me a new coat, probably out of self-defense from that burnt orange naga hide. Several years passed. I had 2 wonderful little boys. My oldest one was about 7. And the weatherman had come on and said, tomorrow is going to be the coldest night of the season. Bring the dogs in, cover up the pipes, do whatever you have to do, put an extra blanket on the bed. Tomorrow will be the coldest morning of the season. Get ready. And I knew in my mother's heart of hearts that the little boy, my child, could not wear the coat that he had been wearing to school since November, from the house to the car, and from the car into the school. He needed a new coat. So we went coat shopping. And on that January afternoon, I learned 2 important facts. Number 1, you do not take a 7-year-old shopping for something he does not think he needs to begin with. And number 2, you do not go shopping for coats in January. You go shopping for bathing suits. We had finally found the clearance rack in the back of the store, and he didn't like anything that I was able to find. And when I pulled him out from under the clothing rack for the 3rd time, I looked him in the eye and I said, we're going home. And I decided right then that he could indeed wear the coat that he'd been wearing since November, from the house to the car, from the car to the school. And when we got out to the car, and I went to open the door for my eldest son, and I looked down at him, and oh, just this thing went over me that only mothers can understand. And I got down on his level, and I looked at his big brown eyes, and his red hair, and those little freckles across his nose. And I said to him, baby, I hope one day you have one just like you. 6 years ago. I can laugh. Y'all can laugh at this too. 6 years ago, he and his wife presented us with twins.